Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhatta Vrinda Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Arati Kashobha Janavi Tata Vani Jagamana Lobha Dakhirini Taichan Vame Gadadhara Nikate Advaita Sini Vasachhatradhara Vasi Ache Gorasan Rakna Singasane Arati Kore Na Brahma Adi Devagane Narahari Adi Kori Chamaradhulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Kosadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Kosadigaya Kankha baje, khanta baje, madhur madhur madhura baje. madhuram mridanga baje paramarasala baje Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Bahu Koti Chandra Jeni Badana Ujala Gala Dese Bana Mala Parijala Mala Shiva Sukha Narada Preme Gada Gada Bhaka TV Noda Dekhe Kodara Sampada Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhatta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाचार्य श्रोत्र श्री श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाचार्य श्रोत्र श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की। नामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, गंगा माई यमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya Nam Prahlada Dayine Hiranyaka Shirpurvakshahar Shailatanka Anakalaya Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yamita Yato Narsimha Bahe Narsimha Hridaya Narsimha Narasimha Vadim Sharanam Prapadye Tavakaira Kamalavana Kamadhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jajagadi Shahare Jajagadi Shahare Jajagadi Shahare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jajagadish Hare Jajagadish Hare Jajagadish Hare Shavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Narsimha Dev Jaya Narsimha Dev Jaya Narsimha Dev Jaya Narsimha Dev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. श्री नरसिम्हा भगवान की, प्रहलाद महाराज की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Kishore Kishori Bhagwan ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Manani ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai. So thank you all for coming for the Sunday Feast program on behalf of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We welcome you all to the Sunday Feast program at Shri Shri Kishore Kishori Temple. We have a few announcements before we start our program today. We will be celebrating Radha Ashtami, which will be on September 22nd. So please mark your calendars. September 22nd, it's a Friday. It's a Friday evening around 6 p.m. There will be a beautiful Pushpa Abhishek here. So please invite those who have been to the Radha Ashtami festivals in the past. You know, it's a very splendorous view when you see, you know, the Lord Shiva's been Abhishek by the flowers. So it's a wonderful time. So please invite your friends and family. And it's September 22nd, Friday. We'll also have a youth retreat. I will be basically advertising that in a short time on September 30th and October 14th. There are two speakers who will be here, Arjun Sakha Prabhu and Shubhavilas Prabhu. So we'll be having a youth retreat from 11. So only youth are allowed, no adults. So that is the criteria for that. We will be sending out information very soon about that as well. Also, we have a few announcements about. So after the class, please do stay back. We do have some announcements which we need to make before you go. Also, our Sunday school program is started already. So if you want to register your kids for the Sunday school, please look out for Shraddha Mataji. She can help you out, or you can come and talk to me if you want to know. So today's class will be given by His Grace Subal Prabhu. We will welcome him with big and loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol. So he's going to talk about a very interesting topic, cultural engineering, building a Krishna conscious society. So looks very intriguing. So we'll see what he has to speak. So while I set up the projector, he's going to do a kirtan. So we'll start. Please come forward, everybody who can, because we will have visitors going from there. So I don't want to block them. So please come forward and put your cell phones on silent if possible. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everybody. So, either I make myself like this, or I have everybody coming a little bit closer. Maybe I should make myself like this. This have to be switched. How many of you are here for the first time? Welcome. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to sing. It's a very beautiful song that traditionally we sing for every time we do a class. Is It's a beautiful song because our the teachers in our tradition explain that this song depicts perfectly the spiritual world. So explains about the relationship that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a beautiful, 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 kind, and loving Supreme Being, and the relationship they have with their beloved devotees. And also a description of the space, the spiritual world, how it looks like, different scenery that are part of that description. So this call is called Radha Madhava, and it goes like this. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Bhallabha Giribhara Dhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shishir Radha Madhava ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashto Tarashata Shishimat, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantarash Shiman Bhagavatam ki, Gaura Premanandi. Okay, let's see. Uh-oh, I'm giving all my... We got it? Can everybody see? You cannot see. Yeah, there's a space over there for any of you who wants to take advantage and see. So, cultural engineering. Just recently, I was doing a course, not recently, but some few months ago, about doing a course to learn how to deal as an administrator or as a leader, how to deal with a pluralistic society. In other words, we have right now in these present times more or less a whole melt of many, many cultures. multicultural societies, especially thinking about, we're in the city of Chicago. It's a highly diverse society here, highly diverse. And it is explained in general for all different institutions, being political, social, commercial, etc., etc. It's a big, big challenge how to deal with a pluralistic society. Because you have so many different groups with many different needs, different backgrounds, different ideologies, different ways that they process things. So it's a challenge. And it has been specifically very, very prominent with religious institutions. And in our institution, in the ISKCON, this is International Society for Christian Consciousness, is also quite a factor that is not easy. It's a challenge. So through these courses, this term, engineering was mentioned. It was very intriguing to me. How many of you here are engineers? So we have few of you that are engineers. In general, we have an idea of what engineer is. So engineering, a definition that is given by the actual American Engineer Council for Professional Development. They define engineer as follow. The creative application of scientific principles to design or develop structures, machines, apparatus, or manufacturing processes. So few things are in here. It's about design, but it's also about building or developing structures or machines, even processes. But not only we have design, not only we have the development, but also we have the application. So engineers cover all these different elements. Either, as it says here, we can do it in a single manner or a combination of them. So an engineer can have those different elements at the same time. Some of you engineers, is that correct? That's more or less, what covers your profession? Yes? Yes, so it's confirmed. It says here, or to construct or operate the same, so all these different things, with full cognizance of their design. So, other words, that we can have a particular model or design, and you should be able to operate or to build it or maintain it, being fully cognizant of how it was designed or the purpose of that design. So that's part of the engineering. And also, as explained here, or to forecast their behavior under specific operating conditions. So also, there's different conditions that may have to influence how this design is to be operated or is to be built. It's according to the circumstances in which we're going to apply these concepts or these designs. So this is the term engineering. Now, when we come to culture, the definitions of culture, this is also found in the Cambridge English Dictionary. The culture is an umbrella term which encompasses the social behavior, institutions, and norms found in human societies, as well as the knowledge, belief, arts, laws, custom, capabilities, and habits of the individuals in these groups. Social behaviors, norms, beliefs, arts, customs, all these things are natural um, functions of culture. But there's also this very, very telling definition that culture is the way of life, specifically the general customs and belief of particular group of people at a particular time. The word culture comes, or this word to be used to define the behaviors and the beliefs of groups of people came from a Roman statement back during the Roman Empire. Actually, the name is quite familiar for us. His name is Cicero. So we never know with this Cicero Avenue, where is the origin of this name. So his name is actually Marco Tullius Cicero. So he was a philosopher, statesman, scholar. He says here, academic skeptic. And he started to use this term of a culture or cultivation using the agricultural metaphor. So in agriculture, you cultivate, you cultivate vegetables, you cultivate plants, and the plants goes through a process until it generates fruit. So there is a whole system that ends into a desirable, product. So this Cicero used this metaphor to actually define a whole concept that he had in terms of what is the highest ideal for a human being, to be a philosophical soul. So he used the term culture, cultivate. So you cultivate a philosophical soul. And when you use this metaphor, meaning that you have to create an environment that allows that cultivation to take place. So this philosopher, American philosopher, Edward Casey, he explained this very nicely. Part of explaining the work of this Cicero. He said the very word culture means place tilled. When you do, when you're going to do a gardening, the first thing that we learn when we do gardening is that you have to till the ground. So that's culture. And the same word goes back to Latin colere. Colere means to inhabit, to care for, to till, to worship. And this word cultus is also connected to that. Cultus means a cult, and it's especially for religious, to specify a particular religious culture. We define that as a cult. Sometimes we have this bad connotation in American societies that you define a cult as something foreign and strange, out of place. But no, it comes from this same root, culture. So you create um, a whole ecosystem. You prepare, uh, you prepare a ground for actually grow something. And the proposal of this Roman philosopher Cicero was that you create an environment that allows to produce ideal man, the philosophical soul. So we have that idea. So the word culture is used in those terms. There is a modern definition of this CEO from Southwest Airlines. He said, culture is what people do when no one is looking. It's almost like, you know, you're free to be yourself because culture is so ingrained in each one of us. We've basically been built or been grown from the very beginning in a particular environment, in a particular ground that it has been tilted. And then here we go. We grow with those roots very well settled in that culture. And so sometimes, especially, many of us here, possibly most of us, have come from other countries into, we're foreigners that come to this country. So you have to transplant yourself from a particular culture into another culture. And sometimes we have to make sure to keep some of our customs. We're not very open with them. They're more private at times, or with our own group. Sometimes we have, as devotees working outside, you may not be open to say, I'm this or I'm that or I'm a Hare Krishna, like that. Or even go with the signs of the culture you have taken. For us it's very important to have tilak. It reminds us that we are devotees of the personality of Godhead, with Vaishnavas. And we may not do that because you don't want to create any type of, questioning or people. We are in a secular world that doesn't like much, or you're trying to indoctrinate something. So anyway, there's all these sensibilities that are there, social sensibilities. So we may have our culture for our private or for our, community type of things. We can be ourselves. So then we come to this culture engineering. So the way this culture engineering is defined is a study, analysis, and a strategic implementation of cultural ecosystems in their social, political, environmental, technical, economic, and financial aspects. So there's something quite striking because in these modern societies, everybody, in one sense, actually, everybody, not in one sense, everybody is a product of this cultural engineering. We all have been more or less grew in a particular type of ecosystem that have to do with all these different uh, uh, aspects of social, political, environmental, technical, economical, and financial, all these. There's a particular way that we see the world, and there's a particular way that we process the world. So either we are being more or less, um, we're being passively grow or grew, as I say, someone is growing me, right? In this environment with this particular culture, and that basically creates all kinds of definitions of self that I have. That more or less determines what my goals are, what my view perspectives are, what my beliefs are. And then not only I'm being grown in this type of environment, but I'm also the means to continue or to pass this type of ideologies. We do it to our children, and we do it to those, who are that we're responsible for. So we perpetuate a particular culture, and it's something that is very important for societies to maintain the culture that you have received. Especially with, one of the service that I had along with my wife was to work with the children of our communities. And for many years we did that. And we've been working for the last 30 years with mostly Indian communities. And one of the things that we learned is very important, it's an issue for the Indian communities to deal with maintaining their children connected to their culture, to maintain that connection. When they're living here in America and the children are growing in America, they become, there's this big situation that they can be pretty much foreign to the culture of their parents. And they always find these conflicted things because, the children are growing in this, basically being molded, or they've been the product of a particular type of model of culture that is different than the model of culture that their parents have. And sometimes that creates a lot of conflict on the children too, because they have to live in these two worlds, and many things are conflicting. Also, you find it, with young students. Many of you have come to the America, or you go to Europe to do your careers, to study in university, masters, and you find the same things because in education you're being trained with particular values that have to do with a particular culture. I'll give you an example. In America, the individuality is greatly valued. Personal achievements and aspirations are greatly valued. In fact, that's the top priority for in the people in individuals in the society. You should always, who's number one? It's always that type of thing. In Indian societies, we learn, although I'm not from India, but by being for so many years working, I come to understand and appreciate that in Indian societies, the value of community and family is top priority. So, families or community, is a principle that is much important to the individual aspirations. So if your individual aspirations are not in tune or not in sync with the aspirations of the community, then you have to sacrifice your individual aspirations. It happens like that. Now, the Western thinking or the Western process comes into conflict with that. And then we have now that this Western mentality is also being very strongly brought to India. So we have in bigger cities, there's people having these conflicts. You know, it's almost this cultural conflict that is there. So it's a fact that is there. It's something that we have to be aware that there's all these mechanisms that are in place that are sort of manipulating in one sense and almost managing the masses of people. And we're part of that. And it's just natural because we're social entities. And we have to be, we're part of a social structure, and social structures needs this type of sort of mechanisms. So things can work out very smoothly like that. So it's a reality that is there. So when we talk about culture, we have to be aware of these three levels of culture. And this is a very important thing when we talk about understanding this cultural engineering. You have to understand that here is very nicely explained in this metaphor of an iceberg. So when you're navigating and then you see an iceberg, you see the tip of the iceberg. It's what you see. But obviously, there's so much of the iceberg that you don't see. So what you see is called the surface culture. Sometimes it's also defined as behaviors. The thing that you see in culture. We see behaviors, we see norms, we see that can be, you can see it as the type of food, the type of dance, the type of clothing, the type of norms and behaviors that people have. This is the surface culture, the stuff that you see. Then the shallow culture have to do with values. So concepts of time, personal space, eye contact, ways of handling emotions, nonverbal communication, child reading principles, thoughts of wellness and disease, tempo of work, concept of time. Sometimes we always joke about Indian time because, it's more flexible. So when we're in India, and you have to go to take a train, you have to be prepared of things being more flexible. Right here will be a riot when things goes late and things like that. People got really upset. So different concepts of time. And then we have deep culture. We have to do with assumptions, very deep ingrained principles that are part of how you see self, concepts. These are the ones that are very deep. And those are the ones that are very difficult to change. So we have to be very aware of that. So when we come to understand that there is this culture, in one sense, is like an ecosystem. That one thing fits the other. They're not just separate things that exist, one here, one here, one no. Each one of them feed, as a cyclic thing. So our behaviors, our norms, our artifacts, why do they exist? Because of our values, because of the way, what we consider important. So then that's how we behave. That's the why. And the why is the things that we consider important is because our assumptions, our philosophies, our concepts. And then those very same things, affects, so you see how each one is connected. It's more, this little graphic shows very much that cycle. One is feeding the other, and one is feeding the other, and one is feeding the other. So our belief have to do with our faith, our convictions. They affect our values. For example, we consider valuable to be honest or to be trustful or like that. And then those values affects our attitudes, how we deal with things, what are the type of beliefs that we have. And those will affect our behaviors. And our behaviors naturally reinforces our beliefs. So these things goes like that. So we come now to this gift, this culture that His Divine Grace, our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, brought to us. Either you're a seeker of a spiritual alternative or you're a practitioner. The gift of this Krishna culture that Prabhupada brought, this ancient Krishna culture that is grounded in the beautiful scriptures, the deep, deep spiritual scriptures of India. Specifically, they call the Bhakti Shastras, or the scriptures that deal with the loving devotion to the personality of Godhead. The culture that is grounded in that knowledge is what Prabhupada gifted to the world. Brought to the world. Actually, knowledge has been there from time immemorial. Prabhupada has taken that knowledge and spread it all over the world, make it available. So powerful that this culture was able to affect the life of people from all different backgrounds, all different cultures. Now, I'm a living example of that. I grew up in South America, in a Latin American country, Venezuela. I've never in my life heard anything about Krishna. I grew in a Catholic country that had my parents. They were this agnostic type of intellectual type of people, and although grounded in a very Catholic culture, they were, more liberal type of people. So they didn't give me a religion, but I grew in that environment with those values, with that type of culture. So I never heard about Krishna ever. I only came in contact with a Krishna devotee and the culture of Krishna consciousness in an ISKCON temple in Boston as a student. First time I went to eat, specifically to eat. It happens that one Krishna devotee will stand by the door of my college. I was studying music in Boston, this place called Berklee College of Music. And I was a vegetarian. I was a kid. I was, 19 years old, vegetarian, with no clue of how to be a vegetarian. So I was eating cheese pizza every day. And I was sick of eating cheese pizza. At one point, it was, I can't take cheese pizza anymore. And it happens that during that time, there's this Krishna devotee passing some little bag with an invitation card for a free vegetarian meal, dinner, every day. So that was like, I just hit the jackpot. I was like elated. Vegetarian free student. I was a broken student, like that. So I that very same day I went, and then I ring the door. This beautiful building, Temple Building in Boston. It's a brownstone house in a very beautiful area in Boston, downtown. And, everything looks great. What wonderful place, free food, vegetarian, until opens the door and there is this fellow with shaved head and these robes. And I was like, what is this? I was not, strange, but anyway, free food, I'm in. So, and that's it. That's my contact. That was my contact with Krishna consciousness. The rest is history. Here I am after 40 years. I'm still a devotee. So, so it has that power. The culture actually was taken by the food. I never tasted anything, and specifically the one that I became addicted to, that I couldn't get enough of it, was halava. And the devotees were very expert and also very sensitive too. So, but the food was incredible. And then one time I was exposed to the music, and that's it. I was hooked. So, and so it became like that. So the power of this culture that Prabhupada gave us, that so many different peoples you have from every corner of the world, every culture, are able to embrace and to take, to convert themselves, to learn this culture. So what is this Krishna culture that Prabhupada has given us? Srila Rupa Goswami, he uses this term Krishna Nushilanam. Krishna Nushilanam. So this is the definition of bhakti, of pure devotional service. And this culture of bhakti is a culture that is defined as Krishna Anushilanam. Prabhupada explained that this Anushilanam means culture. And Krishna Anushilanam is the culture that is focused on giving pleasure to Krishna, to God. And this loving, favorable service to the personality of Godhead have to be free. The qualification is that it's free from fruitive activities and mental speculation and philosophical speculation. Pure devotional service. So Prabhupada has given us this tradition, this bhakti tradition. He himself, he explained of this culture that he has brought to the world. He said, Vedic culture is very old. It is not a concocted thing or a new pattern. It's eternal. Therefore, it is called Sanatan. Sanatan means eternal. It has no beginning and no end. He said, Vedic culture means Krishna consciousness. there is no other different meaning of Vedic culture. And then he says this. It's one of the. He say many things, but this one is quite striking. So he say animal culture means to satisfy the needs of the body, and Vedic culture or human culture means to satisfy the needs of the soul. Prabhupada uses this very strong language in this quote. He says that a culture that is focused on simply to satisfy the senses is not different than animal culture. Sometimes it says that when society is focused on simply trying to satisfy the needs of the body, and he explains the needs of the bodies are eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But these are the same thing that all animals do. And all animals have the intelligence and the capacity to do this quite effectively. And there we are. If our focus is just simply to do that, Prabhupada explained, we're just very, sophisticated animals. Sometimes people say, yeah, I'm fine with being a sophisticated animal. But Prabhupada tells us that this Vedic culture is human culture. It's meant for the human society. It's how it's been designed. Remember what engineering is? One of the parts of being an engineer is that you take a design and you build something according to how the purpose of how it's been designed for. So Krishna has designed these mechanisms and these processes for human society. So human society is about the needs of the soul. And in the Sri Ishopanishad is a wonderful little book. How many of you have this book, Sri Ishopanishad? Not so many of you, but it's an amazing little book. It's small, it's not big. And it costs like about, we have it in the store. It may be like $6 or $5. It's a little book. 18 mantras. And the Sri Upanishad explains, is one of the Upanishad, is one of the literatures, the Vedic literatures, that explains about the Supreme Controller, the personality of Godhead. And one of the very strong things, or studies, or presentations, the Sri Upanishad, is that it does a comparative study of these two cultures. He actually sort of divide or categorize culture into two different things, or two different categories. One is called Vidya and one is called Avidya. And the Sri Upanishad goes into a very comparative study of these two. But it focuses on the culture of Vidya. The culture of Vidya means the culture of transcendental knowledge. And the culture, and the Avidya means the culture of nations or ignorance. So, here's some of the things that are explained about the culture of Vidya, of transcendental knowledge, in the Sri Upanishad. This is right from the text of the Upanishad, the Sri Upanishad. The first one, it says, it defines the personality of Godhead. This is the introduction. So, transcendental knowledge means to understand who is God. First thing. So, what is the definition that Sri Upanishad gives of God? The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. Because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself, because he is the complete whole. Even though so many complete units emanates from him, he remains the complete balance. So you hear this word complete, complete, complete. The verse is very beautiful. It's also Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnam Purnan Udachate Purnan Syam Punanadaja Purnan Eva Vashishate. So you have this Purnam, 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 Purnam. Complete, complete, complete. Perfect, complete. Everything that he does is perfect and complete. And thus, everything animate or inanimate that is within this universe is controlled and owned by him, because he is producing these perfect, complete units. He is the owner. He's the one who's producing this. So one should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So this is a very important concept of knowledge, of this vidya, that we understand that everything that God provides for us is perfect. Sometimes we are necessarily not happy how our life is turning on. Maybe I have certain aspirations, and now the reality is that they're not manifesting. And sometimes we become frustrated. Sometimes we are in a situation that some calamity happens or some things happens to us that are very difficult. Just recently, yesterday, I was in Indianapolis. The devotees were celebrating their Janmashtami there. And there was this devotee I was talking with, and he was telling me that his house, recently bought house, they were very happy situated, the whole family. It was hit by an hurricane, and it really damaged the house really, really badly. None of the family members got hurt because they moved into the basement and were able to, but it happens very quick. So these are all very what to speak of the things that are happening nowadays. We see how so many people just yesterday or the other day die in Morocco with an earthquake, and just recently that huge fire that happens in Hawaii, and one of the beautiful cities in Hawaii. So all these things that happens, that you have to face calamities. And then we may think, why bad things happens to good people? We may question God. But no, if we have transcendental knowledge, we can see that, or we have the understanding, the capacity to understand that everything is just how it's supposed to be, and is for our benefit. If we're able to decipher, if we're able to unpack the message that Krishna has for us in every single situation that we have to face, there's a hidden guideline that is there. That if we able to tap into this message, we become closer and closer and closer to the goal of life, which is to become, again, connected with the personality of God. So everything is perfect because it comes from God. Even the situations that every one of us have is our quota, and that quota is perfect for us. Just exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. We just have to, with transcendental knowledge, you will be able to understand that. Without transcendental knowledge, you'll be at the mercy of the situation, and it will be very painful and very frustrating. So, therefore, the Ishopanishad tells us that with this transcendental knowledge, we can live 100 years in happiness. It gives us that capacity. The Upanishad tells us, he who systematically sees everything in relationship to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, in quality one with the Lord, become a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? Such person most factually knows the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, meaning doesn't have a body like this, and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. This is a culture of knowledge. To know God and to know a relationship with God, to know who we are, a spirit soul that have an eternal relationship with God. To understand that I'm not the body, and the purpose of life is not to satisfy the needs of the body. We take care of the body, and we still have to eat, we still have to sleep, we still have to mate, we still have to defend ourselves, but that's not the ultimate purpose of life. The purpose of life is the needs of the soul, which is to connect in love with the personality of God. That's the culture of Vidya. That's the culture of knowledge. That's the culture that is given in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is all about that. It's all about that. So we hear a little more about Bhagavad Gita. Now, the culture of Avidya, the culture of nations, then the term that is used, it doesn't, the Ishopanishad doesn't get too much into the culture of Avidya. It gets a lot into the culture of Vidya because, this is really what we have, the message that we have to get. So, for those who are caught in this culture of Avidya, they call the term that the Sri Upanishad use is the killers of the soul. Atmaja, the killer of the soul. And it says, whoever he may be must enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. This word avidya is the cause of all sufferings. In the Yoga Sutras, it is explained that there is 5 kleshas, or 5 elements of suffering, and the cause of all of them is avidya. From avidya, or ignorance, then all the other sufferings, they come, or they expand. So, darkness and ignorance. Those who engage in the culture of nation activities, in the culture of nation activities, shall enter into the darkest regions of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. This is an important thing that, it will take another class to discuss. And I'm running out of time. Those who are engaged in the absolute worship, this is also, listen to this, especially, coming from Indian background, those who are engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest regions of ignorance. Now, in general, the worship of demigods allows to go to heaven. But then here is a much more overarching concept. It's about suffering, birth and death in the material world. Regardless you're in heaven or regardless you're in hell or in this earthly planet, you have to go to this process of suffering, old age, disease, what is the other one? Birth and death, the changing of the bodies, all these things. We have to suffer those. Even in heavens, they have to suffer these things, birth and death. So Krishna explains that in the Gita. One who acts for the satisfaction of the senses to the exclusion of God consciousness, those are in avidya, and people who engage in the culture of nation under the flag of industrialism, economic development, altruism, political activism, and so on, ultimately act for the purpose of sense gratification. So the culture of avidya is about seeing oneself as this body, and the purpose of life is sense gratification. That's it. And then that leads to all kinds of hellish situations, suffering. So this culture of knowledge is what we are receiving. It's the culture that we're receiving from Srila Prabhupada. It's the culture that we're receiving from the Bhagavad Gita and from the Bhakti Shastras. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us that in this world there is nothing more sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Arjuna asked Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, what is knowledge? What is, and then Krishna gives a whole list that is about qualities. All these different qualities like humility, pridelessness. These are things that we can learn. These are behaviors. These are values. Sorry, these are values that are part of that culture. So this is what Krishna is giving us. So as Vaishnavas, we are meant to be cultural engineers. We're meant to not only for ourselves, but for others, for all of those who are close to us. Can I have 5 more minutes? Good. Sorry about that. He always takes some more time than we plan. So I'm going to give you 4 sutras. Sutras means quotes that you can remember to be a cultural engineer of this bhakti tradition, this spiritual tradition, the culture of the soul. So remember, whatever you do and whatever you don't do creates a culture. So this is for all of us. We have to be very conscientious about the things that we do. Krishna tells us that in the Gita, that whatever actions a great person does, common people follow. So every one of us has a responsibility in society. We cannot be passive. We have to take an active role for our children and for the future. So we have this responsibility to act as we are examples, we're models of what the culture, spiritual culture. I'm going to pass this one. There's particular mechanisms that can help that, but because we're running out of time, I'm going to pass this one. Here's another sutra. Either you manage culture or culture manages you. So in other words, don't be passive. There's this little comic here of, people don't having a clue why in the world you do something or you have a particular type of custom. So they have this funny hat, and the person say, I don't know how it started either. All I know is part of a culture, a corporate culture. So we're not passive. We have to be active in understanding. Here's another sutra. Your assumptions shape your behavior changes your assumptions. Remember that circle, that sort of ecosystem. So it's important that we go our our principles, the beliefs that we have, and that can help us change our behavior, but also we learn that by performing a particular type of activities, our assumptions will also change. So therefore, we're giving these principles of sadhana bhakti, or the activities of devotional service, and also we talk to hear about this transcendental knowledge cultivated. So instead of being caught in a vicious circle, we can be caught in a virtuous circle, like that. I'm going to pass this. This is quite striking. As devotees, we are in this crossroad when we are spiritualists, when we are spiritual seekers. We can either go up or we can get caught into a spiral that will take us down. So the things that are our enemies, that binds the soul into a spiral down, that bounds you to this material existence, to the sufferings, are attachment, pride, false prestige, greed, ignorance, anger, lust, envy. The ones that actually elevate us is the acceptance of a spiritual teacher, the study of the scriptures, austerities, sense control, and a spiritual knowledge. Yeah? Past this one. Here's the next sutra. Whatever you see, this is the last sutra. Whatever you see determines what you do. Whatever you do determines what you get. And whatever you get determines what you see. So you see, everything have this connection. So it's important that we expand the way we see things. It's important that we open ourselves to learn a different culture, a spiritual culture. We have to learn to see things through the eye. It's called the chakshu, what is it? The Shastra chakshu, or the Divya chakshu. Chakshu means eye. That we learn to see with the spiritual eye. We learn to see with the devotional, with the scriptural eye, with the eye of knowledge. Jnana chakshu also. These all terms are used. So that expands our vision. So like that, conclusion. I have to run to this one. The conclusion, just summarize it and end it. No time for questions, sadly. As spiritual seeker and practitioner, as spiritual seekers and practitioners, we ought to embrace the culture of transcendental knowledge. We have to. Each one of us, we have to dive in this culture. We have to expose ourselves to this transcendental knowledge and embrace it for the benefit of the world as well as our own self. We can be ambassadors of this transcendental knowledge and become qualified engineers of Krishna culture in society. It's for the benefit of the world. It's for the benefit, for the future of our children and for the future of the world, for our own benefit. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Subal Prabhu. It's a nice presentation.
Sorry, Prabhu.
No, that was nice presentation actually. A lot of pictures. No, I think it's a very important point that you addressed here. The culture of Vidya and Avidya, and very nicely presented. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So we have a couple of announcements before we go for our prasadam break. So we'll have Balram Prabhu make an announcement, and also we have Rajapati Prabhu. He's going to talk about something related to Janmashtami.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, thank you, Subal Prabhu. That was a wonderful presentation on culture. So, when we talk about culture, there is an aspect of culture that I wanted to share with all of you. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna specifically talks about this aspect. And most of us, those who live in this world, we like to do some sort of investments. And the purpose behind investment is you put $1 and you want $1,000,000 back. Right? That's the mindset in which we approach when it comes to investment. And Krishna touches upon this in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that this process of bhakti or this culture of bhakti, when you put in little, you get lot in return. Right? He talks about this and he says, he uses the word swalpam. Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya. Very little. And he says, Trayate mahato bhayat. It saves you from greatest danger. So, in that context, I am here to basically ask for some help. And charity is also a very important aspect of, or a cultural aspect of bhakti. Most of you know our elevator in the temple stopped working, and it's a huge deal for us because that elevator allows us to take the prasadam up and down on Sundays. So, by the help of some good volunteers here from the Janmashtami festival and also today, they helped us carry those 20 trays. And some of us are here who have helped us take the 20 trays up and down. So we can't continue that for long because ultimately human elevator can only go up to a certain extent. So we are reaching out to all of you who can help us with this investment. This is a charitable investment that you perform some charity and it comes back in many folds. In fact, when you put the money in the hundi, you're not giving. In fact, you're getting back. That's the spiritual math. And you get to understand more about this when you understand the culture behind it. So, the estimated cost of this repairing this elevator is about $100,000 because it's a very, as you know, this building is more than 100 years old. The elevator is also pretty old, and to get it to the city standards, that's the estimate that we have received. We have raised about $35,000, roughly around that we have raised for the last weeks and months. So we are requesting all of you to come forward and help with this. Because as Subal Bro mentioned in his talk, he is a product of Prasadam right in front of us. And he has given his 40 years of his life serving Srila Prabhupada's mission. Right? So again, Prasadam transportation is just one aspect. But you can all you can all take part in this campaign that we are doing for the next few months because it's a 3-month project. The elevator repair will take about 2 to 3 months. So you can imagine it's a lot of work that will happen on the corner, but you get the benefit of helping the temple and all the devotees and the guests who come here, not only for the Sunday feast, but the many festivals that we do here in our temple. So we request all of you, and especially for elderly people, they can't walk, so it will help them also. So we request all of you, if you're interested, you can either come and see me or Radharaman Prabhu is in the back, and we can give you more details on how you can contribute to this amazing campaign that we are doing for getting this elevator repaired. Again, thank you very much for your kind attention. We have Rashpati Prabhu here. He will share some aspects of Janmashtami.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this is, I just wanted to take a moment here to thank all the volunteers who have, come forward and helped us in putting not one, but three, not one, not two, but three big festivals over the last month. And we were just trying to prepare a list of volunteers to appreciate, and the list kept growing and growing and growing. And that shows how many of you came forward and helped in making these festivals successful. First was the Rath Yatra in July, and that was huge with with so many thousands of people coming in and chanting Krishna's holy names. And of course, 800 plates of prasadam is what we distributed that day, free prasadam plates. And it's not easy to put festivals like this outside of the temple as well as inside. For example, even yesterday, this week, we put up Janmashtami festival before the Balaram Jayanti festival, and there's plenty of prasadam distributed, plenty of bake sale that happened, and a lot of other services. You saw the beautiful decorations for Janmashtami for midnight. There's like plenty of devotees who have worked really, really hard to put together like outside decorations inside and on the altar, and the list just goes on and on and on. And we obviously cannot take all their names, out here. But what we plan to do is we will put a board outside in this week, and it'll be there until Radhashtami. And we want to make sure that everybody's name is there. If there's somebody who we missed out, please come and contact us. But I'm sure we worked with you all, over these services all this time, during this whole year, in fact. We want to appreciate you all. And we also want to give you something at the end of the year as a token of appreciation as well. So in case you've volunteered for some service, please do contact us in case your name is not there on those boards next week. But just wanted to wholeheartedly thank all of you and anybody who's hearing to this, online, and just really, really grateful that you all came forward to make this success, these festivals a huge success. Some of the feedback that we are hearing is that these festivals have brought so many devotees together, and it's been amazing. Everybody is appreciating, and they want to come and help more and more. And we have plenty of opportunities in these festivals, as well as like Prabhu was sharing. Downstairs we have like help needed in and upstairs until the elevators is fixed. So we have a lot of opportunities. So please come forward and help during the festivals, help during Sanjipis. And again, only because of your help, we are able to put together festivals like this. So thank you. And there's different departments, just to give you an idea. I'm not going to take any names, but just to give you an idea of what all departments are there where we got help. We had DT departments, planning and execution of the flower ordering and so on, flower cut-ups, garland making, decorations, the chariot decorations, card decorations, flower decorations, and then decorations of the tents, and on the side, trash and waste management everywhere we go, parade, kirtan and sound management, parade coordination and traffic management, stage performance, books distribution and display, astrology tents, a lot of tents for the different events like bake sale here and at Rath Yatra. The DTs, taking care of the DTs and the DTs tent, and kids tent and kids activities, taking care of that, henna and face painting, kitchen license, volunteer prasadam, and kitchen coordination. A huge round of applause for kitchen department, please, because they've been working tirelessly in all these, festivals. They have been just working tirelessly, serving tirelessly. Again, a huge round of applause for DTs also, because they have been looking stunning throughout all these festivals. Yeah. And then the gift store, mantra meditation, prasadam distribution. Again, like I said, 800 plates of prasadam there, 800 plates of almost 700 plates of prasadam, plus around 500 at midnight. So over 1,000 plates of prasadam distributed on Janmashtami. A huge round of applause for our prasadam distribution team. After cooking all those prasadam, there's also who's going to wash all those pots, right? So we have pot washing team. A huge round of applause. They are not appreciated at all, to be honest. So pot washing team, Daniel Prabhu, and Sanjay Yadav Prabhu. There's a whole team of pot washing team, which is which we always need to appreciate, and we need a lot of help there. And then we had a block party. A lot of devotees came to help with the block party outside. All those names will be outside in the on the board. And yeah, of course, I want to thank especially as Balram Prabhu mentioned, the devotees who have helped for transporting prasadam up through the stairs. It's not easy. 40 trays of prasadam were transferred up, through the stairs. So a special round of applause for those devotees, please. And finally, I would like to thank Temple Council members, all the 5 members of our Temple Council who have helped in planning, supporting, and saying yes whenever we go with a request for either doing something very different than what we've done in the past, or just asking for financial help for anything that we're doing new. So a big round of applause for our Temple Council as well. Finally, I would like to thank also the Chicago Park District and the police officers who came and helped for our parade to be successful as well. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Arranging all these three wonderful festivals. So I think more than anybody else, they also need a big round of applause. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for all your services.
Thank you so much. So now we have 8 minutes before the kirtan starts at 7. So we'll have prasadam upstairs. So please take prasadam and come. We'll have kirtan at 7 o'clock here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastyatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishore Jaya Kishore Kishori Jaya Kishore Kishore Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gora Hari Bol
Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishore, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishore, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishore. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. I request everybody to please move forward. This is the final kirtan. So we take everybody full advantage. I request everybody to move forward. Move forward, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Bolo bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, oh Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Om Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Om Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Oh Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Ram Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Oh Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, oh Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, oh Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Sai Gaur Premanande Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.